Alright, so the video that I had you watch on Friday in class had two objectives behind it. Okay? The first objective was to obviously get you the notes for 5.7 in my absence. Okay, that was the first objective. The second objective was for you to listen to last year's class and how they interacted during class, how they participated during class, how they asked questions during class. Okay? It's quarter time. Last Friday was the end of the first quarter. Okay? I got no less than 4 emails or text messages on Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, asking, I know it's the end of the quarter, how can I improve my grade? And the first thing that you can do to improve your grade is you can start participating in class. Because the more you participate in class, the better you understand the material, the better you know the material, the easier your homework will be, the easier tests will be. Okay? So it all starts in here. Okay? You can sit back and have earbuds in your ears and sit here like a bump on a log, okay? And literally that's what you're going to get out of class. You're going to get out of class what you put into class. Okay? If class just for you is a place for you to eat breakfast, then that's what class is for you.
I haven't eaten this class.
You're not, hey, you're not alone. You're not alone. Okay? Okay? Right? It just happened to be I heard you opening your thing while I was talking. So yeah. Okay? If that's what it is for you, hey, great. I'm a place for you to eat breakfast in the morning. Okay? But if you want to get college credit, okay, remember that's the goal here. The goal here is for you to get free college credit at wherever you're going. You got to start producing. Okay? There's plenty of resources out there for you. Okay? My schedule is posted in many locations. Come find me during an off time. The Resource Center is open every mod of every day except for 2 on Friday when we have our department meeting. It's Learning has screencasts, answers to homework. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong, sometimes they're just answers, sometimes everything's shown. Okay? But there's something there for you. Okay? There's Khan Academy, Math by Fives, Googling, you Google a topic, all that stuff is out there for you. Okay? There's videos on videos on videos on videos of all this stuff. It just becomes a you having to want to be successful. Okay? All right? So, the question had come up about number 18 from the homework that was due today. And number 18 was g of x is equal to 4x to the 4th plus 4x cubed minus 11x squared minus 12x minus 3. And our goal was we had to come up with the zeros to the function. Okay? So what I would do first is I would probably use some kind of a graphing utility to make it, the 4th plus 4x cubed minus 11x squared minus 12x minus 3. Okay. So my list of possible zeros is going to be plus or minus 1, plus or minus 3. That's 3 divided by 1. Plus or minus 1/2, plus or minus 3/2. That's 3 divided by the factor of 4, which is 2. Plus or minus 1/4, plus or minus 3/4. That's 3 divided by, or the factors of 3 divided by 4, which is the last factor there. Okay? So those are my choices. Here's what my graph looks like. Okay? I would look probably right here at this one, because that looks to me to be negative 1/2. Okay? So let's try negative 1/2. 4, 4, negative 11, negative 12, and negative 3. 4, that's going to be negative 2, 2, that's going to be negative 1, negative 12, 6, negative 6, 3, 0. That one worked out. Okay? So negative 1/2 is a 0. Now, utilizing my knowledge of where the function crosses the x-axis, how many times did this function touch the x-axis? Kiana? How many? 3, right? How many zeros should this function have? Should have 4, because my degree is 4. Which tells me that that one at negative 1/2 is what kind of a root? Think back to algebra 2. It's what? It's a double root, because it's just, it goes up and it just kisses. Okay? So that makes it a double root. So I can go right away and I can do negative 1/2 again, because it's a double root. 4, 2, negative 12, negative 6, 4, negative 2, 0, 0, negative 12, 6, 0. Okay. So my function can now be written as, oops, I'm sorry, this was g of x. G of x is now x plus 1/2 times x plus 1/2 times this, which is left over, 4x squared minus 12. Oops, that's bad. X plus 1/2 equals 0. So x equals negative 1/2 in both of those. But I don't have to rewrite it, because I don't need to write negative 1/2 and negative 1/2. 4x squared minus 12 equals 0. 4x squared equals 12. X squared equals 3. X equals plus or minus the square root of 3. So my 3 zeros, or my 4 zeros really, because negative 1/2 is a double, Yes, Antonio.
When we take the test on all of this, will we have a graphing calculator to use to be able to?
I will have some, yes.
So how would you know that that's a double root?
Because it just kisses, it doesn't
Yeah.
cross.
But if you don't look at a graphing calculator and you just do each individual,
Then you gotta keep trying. Yeah.
so you're telling me to use a graphing calculator?
I believe I told you that it was a shortcut last week, yes.
Okay.
Because remember, you even asked for the shortcut?
I know, but I don't like that.
Well, I don't like having to rake my leaves, but I got a shortcut this year to rake my leaves. Okay? Alright? So, day 2, fundamental theorem of algebra. Okay? So, what we've learned is how to find zeros given a polynomial. Okay? So we started with a function. And we said, boom, let's find the zeros. Or, we actually had 3 stops along the way. I gave you a function, and I said, find me the list of all possible zeros, possible real zeros. And we could do that. Factors of the last number divided by factors of the lead coefficient. Okay? Or I said, let's factor, just straight up factor that polynomial. Or I said, let's find the zeros of that polynomial. Okay? Today, we're going to do that process, but we are going to do that process in reverse. I'm going to give you the zeros. I want you to give me the polynomial function. Okay? So we got to our destination on our bus route. Now we got to go home. And we're going to take the express bus back home. Okay? So, the question today will look like, what is the polynomial function given the zeros of -1, 2, and 4? Okay? Well, the polynomial function then says that if this is a 0, what is the factor? If -1 is a 0, what's the factor? Fill up. X plus 1. If 2 is a 0, what is the factor? X minus 2. If 4 is a 0, what is the factor? X minus 4. So we've got 3 factors, right? Now, all important question. What do you want to name your polynomial function? You got 26 choices. What do you want to name it? What do you want to name it? DJ, you pick the call. F of x?
Oh, so boring.
Okay, so f of x. There's 26 letters in the alphabet, Colin. That's why you have 26 choices.
Yeah.
Name it is this one right here. Okay, is equal to x plus 1 times x minus 2 times x minus 4. So we're driving, we got to our destination on our bus stops. Okay? Now we're gotten on the bus coming back home. So obviously we were at the 0 bus stop, that's where we got on the bus. Now we're back to the factor bus stop. We're going to skip over the list bus stop, and we're going to get off at the function bus stop. So if I want to make a function out of these factors, what do I have to do? Straight up multiply them. Yep. Okay. So that's going to be x plus 1 times x squared minus 4x minus 2x is minus 6x plus 8. That's going to be, here on the side, x cubed minus 6x squared plus 8x. And x squared minus 6x plus 8. X cubed minus 5x squared plus 2x plus 8. So f of x here is x cubed minus 5x squared plus 2x plus 8. Okay. Now, quick way to check it. Let me write it down here quick. X cubed minus 5x squared plus 2x plus 8. Quick way to check it. You've got graphing utilities. So, let's get rid of this whole term. One over too many. X cubed minus 5x squared plus 2x plus 8. It's got zeros at -1, right? Positive 2 and positive 4. I needed zeros at -1, positive 2, and positive 4. Boom. Checked out. Works out. Yahoo for school. Yep. Let's try that one once. What's ucky about this one? We got that 1 plus or minus the square root of 5, right? Okay. So, you think it's done the same way? Yeah, it is. Okay. So, what's my factor associated with that one? X plus 4 or x minus 4? X minus 4. This is really 1 plus the square root of 5 and 1 minus the square root of 5, right? Okay. So what's my factor associated with that one? X minus that thing, right? Right? So that really is x minus 1 minus the square root of 5. If I get rid of that inner parentheses. Right? Okay. What's this one? x minus 1 minus the square root of 5, right? Which is x minus 1 plus the square root of 5. MDX, big question. Ready for it? What are we going to name it? M of x? Love it. So that's going to be, oops, I forgot the equal sign. X minus 4. X minus 1 minus the square root of 5. X minus 1 plus the square root of 5. Right? Okay. Let's go a little sidebar action here and let's deal with these two. Right? So I've got to take x and I've got to distribute it in all the way into that trinomial. Right? So that gives me x squared minus x plus x times the square root of 5. Agree with that? Then, let's pick a different color. Let's see if this one shows up. Oh yeah. I got to take -1, and I've got to go into all three of those. Well, that becomes -x plus 1 minus the square root of 5. Agree? Then I've got to take negative square root of 5 and multiply it into all three. So that becomes minus x square roots of 5 plus the square root of 5 minus 5. Because the square root of 5 times the square root of 5 is 5. Positive and negative, so it becomes minus. Okay. Now, here's the cool thing. I get x squared minus 2x. What happens in this column right here? Those cancel out. What happens in this column way over here? Those cancel out too. And the last one I got is minus 4. So m of x is now x minus 4 times x squared minus 2x minus 4. Not really doing any hard math, right? We're just doing a lot of it. Right? But it's really just the distributive property. And it's just a lot of distributives. Okay? So then this is x cubed minus 2x squared minus 4x. Minus 4x squared plus 8x plus 16. So our end function, m of x, is x cubed minus 6x squared plus 4x plus 16. Okay. Ready to try one on your own? Sam's all ready?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do this one, Sam. I got confidence in you, bud. We're on the same page. So I've got zeros here of -1, +1, -4i, and +4i. That gives me factors of x plus 1, x minus 1, x plus 4i, and x minus 4i. So this is my zeros. This is my factors. Okay? So, whose turn is it to pick our name? Who wants to pick our name? Sam, what's our name? Z? So z of x is going to equal x plus 1 times x minus 1 times x plus 4i times x minus 4i. Are we all there? Okay? All right? Do the math. All right, so those two become x squared minus 4xi plus 4xi minus 16i squared. Right? 4xi minus 4xi. Those just cancel each other out. I squared. I squared is -1, so -16i is what does this term become? If I squared is -1. Positive 16, right? That's it. Okay? We think we used that color. These two. X squared minus x plus x minus 1. Middle two. Cancel each other out, right? So z of x is going to be those two multiplied together, correct? So that becomes z of x is equal to x to the 4th minus x squared plus 16x squared is plus 15x squared. negative 1 times positive 16 is negative 16. Okay. Questions on that one? All right, so let's talk this week. So you have this homework due on Friday. Why Friday? You have a test on Friday. Okay. So chapter 5 test on Friday. There will be a formative tomorrow. You need one. I hate to break it to you, but you need one because you got a test this week.
Are we doing what we just did on that formative tomorrow?
I'm gonna make it all of chapter 5 to get you thinking about like the early stuff from chapter 5 too. Okay. Sounds like a plan, man.